So who do we have here as our first guest?
Well.
Well.
Let me introduce a very.
I like you put 4 wells on that. I like that.
Yeah. A very talented writer. I first met her through Charles Curtis Blackwell. I was in the midst of writing and publishing a book, Heritage, and she wrote a short story that was just amazing. So I had to definitely have her out. Now she has her own series of books, or her own book that she's promoting. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you a little bit about her. Geri Spencer Hunter is a native Iowan and a graduate from the University of Iowa College of Nursing. Her writings have been published in numerous anthologies, and her debut novel, Polka Dots, was published in 1998. She is a wife, mother, grandmother, and great-grandmother, a retired public health nurse. She lives here in Sacramento, California, with her husband, Hunter, a retired mechanical engineer. Ladies and gentlemen, Geri Spencer Hunter.
Hey.
Thank you.
Hey. Yes, that's very exciting.
Welcome. We'd like to welcome. We've been trying to have you. It's probably been like 6 months or so.
Yes.
That I've asked for you to come, and finally, it has happened.
It's happened, and thank you very much. I'm very pleased to be here.
All right.
This is an interesting. I've not done a podcast before. So
Well, yeah. So
interesting.
This is an idea that came up from our friend right here, Lawrence Dinkins, and he gathered everybody together. He was like, "Hey, I got an idea. Let's do a podcast." And we was like, "Okay, how do we do it? What do we do?" And he said, "I got the equipment," and we got together and we came up with some ideas, and we wanted to focus on Sacramento. You know, what's the things that are happening here in Sacramento for African Americans. So let's talk about you. How long have you been writing?
I started writing in the late '80s.
Okay.
I've always been a reader. I mean, and I still read 2 and 3 books. I'm reading 2 and 3 books at one time, but I never thought about writing. And everybody has a story, of course.
Right.
But I never really thought about writing until we moved south, and I couldn't find a job.
Okay.
Well, they had a freeze on public health, so.
When you say move south, are you talking south of Iowa or?
No, I'm talking Southern California. Southern California.
Okay.
Yeah, because
Still the South. Yeah.
True. But no, I'm talking Southern California. We moved out there. My husband took a job.
Oh.
And they had a freeze on public health, on hiring on public health. So I was looking around for a job and couldn't find one. So I thought I need to be doing something. So I took a creative writing class.
Okay.
And that's kind of what got me started.
Wow.
Because we had to keep a journal. And if you've ever kept a journal, it's a task.
It is. It's very much a task.
Yeah, it's very much task oriented. It was to me when I first started. But we had to write in it every day. She didn't care what we wrote as long as we wrote every day. Because writing is like anything else.
Right.
The more you do it, the better you supposedly get at
right.
it. So that's how I got started.
Okay, so what are some of your favorite books?
Oh, my. I have so many of them. In fact, I've got a list of them that I brought along because I have so many, and it keeps changing. I keep adding to it. Okay. I'm now reading Toni Morrison's new book called Children of God. God Help the Children.
Okay.
And it's real different for her because it's actually written in now time instead of she usually is kind of historical. But I'm reading that now. I've read so many. Let me just give you a list of some.
Okay.
Oh, you got a list of books that you've read?
I do. Well, I had this started because I was doing something else, and I had it kind of as a handout for people.
Kind of like a reading list?
Yeah. Well, not necessarily a reading list, but just some of the books that I liked.
Okay.
Kind of like your top 20, right?
And some of you probably never heard of, but The Temple Am I Familiar by Alice Walker. It's an old book.
Nah.
Fantastic story. The Women of Brewster Place.
Yes.
Yeah, Gloria Naylor. Tomorrow They Will Kiss. This is Eduardo Santiago. I've gotten into a lot of other authors of colors books. Tumbling by Diane McKinney Whitstone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mother Rose read that one. Because I'm drawing a blank on all these. I feel really illiterate.
The first novel that David Coben wrote, Brown Sky.
Oh, okay.
It was good. Yeah. A Place at the Table, Love, Toni Morrison, Smelling Herself, Terrence McMahon Grimes.
Oh, okay.
Girl on the Train, Paula Hawkins. There's so many of them. I can't go through all of them, but
Okay.
because I like all kinds of stories. You know, I like fiction, nonfiction.
So what got you into reading? Well, how did you become such a big reader?
I've been reading since I was a little one.
But how did somebody impress that on you? Did your mom, your grandma?
Well, probably, but I just don't remember that because it was always a part of me.
Okay.
Yeah,
So-
reading was always a part of
Oh,
me.
so you came out the womb reading. Huh?
Well, no, but I don't think so, Lord.
You're like, I hate that book.
But I'm the youngest of 11 children.
Okay. Oh,
wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
Are you the middle or the?
I'm the youngest.
Oh, you said the youngest. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So you're the youngest of 11. Oh my God. So
Yeah.
you're the baby.
Yeah.
Oh.
So that, I had all those siblings that were into things, and I'm sure that's, as I say, I really don't remember how I got into reading, but I've been reading forever. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And I've always read 2 or 3. I'm always reading 2 or 3 books.
So
at a time.
as a kid, what was the book that stood out to you as a kid? Because I know I have a favorite book that really tackled, that woke me up as a reader. But what was the one that did it for you?
Now, Lawrence, you have to remember, I'm 80 years old. So going back to childhood.
I mean, a teenager or whatever, but a book that really hit you, that hit home to you. It could be the Color Purple, whatever it was. But is there a book that like, oh my God, this is what
not really.
literacy is all about. This is what,
not really. I really can't pinpoint one book that really got me into.
Okay, so you kind of equal opportunity reader.
I mean, I have a lot of interests, so
Okay.
I'll pick up.
So do you
book
like science fiction or you like?
I do like science fiction.
Okay.
I like most genres.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
you all over. Yeah.
I can't write. I mean, I don't write science fiction, but I like it, and I don't read it a whole lot. But but I like most genres.
Okay,
Mystery,
very cool.
romance,
Oh, wow.
history.
So
Nonfiction,
that is
fiction.
Wow, such a big reader.
So your first book was called Polka Dots.
Yes.
Okay. What was that book about, and how was the process of writing it? Was it hard? Did you start out with like a storyline, or what was your process?
My first book was Polka Dots, and it was a relation book. It was about a woman that was a writer, and she got published, and she was married, and she happily married, but she kind of fell into this relationship with her publisher.
Okay.
And he was much younger, and he was white. Just to put a little, tension in there.
Right.
A little jungle fever in that.
But it was like, people, I think when we meet our mate, we marry, we don't know who we're going to meet down the line.
Right.
So I in my head, it was like, you meet people, you're attracted to somebody, you don't necessarily act on that, but you have attractions, even though you're married, you're happily married to your spouse.
Yeah. You're not dead. Yeah.
But that's what Polka Dots was about. But instead of her, they kind of acted on their impulse, and so the book is about the results of, because when we do our behaviors, there's always consequences.
Yeah.
And not just to us, for everybody, that surrounds us.
So what was it that made you decide to say, I'm gonna write a book?
I think after I did the creative writing class, I had a very good teacher.
Okay.
It was in Riverside, California. She was very good. And she told me, she said, I think I'm going to see your name in print one day. And I thought, oh, yeah, right. I can't even write a paragraph on it. But she really encouraged her students. So that kind of got me, I thought, well, maybe who knows. Then when I came back to Sacramento, I got into critique groups. And which is very helpful, other writers, and they were writing stuff, and I thought, let me try this.
Okay.
But then I found out it wasn't easy.
Right.
And the process is you get my process. I get an idea in my head, and I should outline it, but I don't. I don't work with outlines, and I think I should because it would probably progress quicker. My thought process. But I get the idea in my head. I start writing it, and as the story goes along, you're constantly changing it.
Right.
And that's the one thing I really had to learn when I started writing, is that because I would write a paragraph and I'd read it and I'd change it. Every time you read it, and that's still the way today it is.
Right.
Because I look at my book now and I thought,
I could read
I pick it up. I thought, I wish I could change it.
Right. And you're stuck on that first page. It's like you never move past that first page.
You never get past that.
Right.
So I finally learned that just go ahead and write. Put it down, and then go back and look at it, because you're always going to change it.
Right.
Yeah, and so.
So are you one of those writers where your characters take over? Take over your.
They tend to. Yeah. And I thought that was so. When I heard writers say that, I thought, how can that be? You're writing the story, but it's really true. They kind of take you where they want to go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you? And I think writers sometimes have it. Do you go into these writer blocks? And if you do, how long will it take you to snap up out of them?
I don't really think so. When I'm kind of stuck, I start another story. Mm-hmm. So I'm writing more than one story at one time. Because if I'm writing on one story and I kind of get stuck there, then I'll start another story and start writing on that. Or sometimes I'll just write, on the story that I'm stuck on. I'll just start writing, and it doesn't have to make sense, but I'll just start writing something about the characters, and eventually, the ideas will come where I want it to go. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, but I'm always writing 2 or 3 stories at one time.
Oh wow! So are you a short story writer? Do you like writing short stories?
I do write short stories.
Okay.
Uh-huh. I belong to Zyka, which is a creative writing group here in Sacramento. And what we used to do is we started with numbers. And you could just write anything you wanted, like from the net. But it always had to start with, you always had to have the number in there somewhere. And it was really interesting because it really helped creatively, because your mind could go all kinds of ways. It's a writing prompt.
They give you a prompt, and then you're like, okay.
And it also was interesting to see the different things that came out of this one number or phrase or all the different stories that came out of it. It was amazing.
Yeah. Sound like a good group to be part of. Yeah.
How many books have you authored so far?
The Summer of My 15th Year is my second novel.
Okay.
Yeah, Polka Dots was my first. It was published in 1998 by Wijiji Press. I've been in a lot of anthologies. Zyka has 2 anthologies coming out with the 3rd one, and I'm in there. So I've been in a lot of anthologies. Actually, anthologies are a good way to get started writing, I think, when they call for submission for different kinds of anthologies. I usually try to submit something, whether it's taken,
So do you get paid if you get picked, or is there like a pay? Okay.
No, you usually get a book.
Okay. I'm like, hey, I might want to submit to something. Okay.
Okay, so Summer of My 15th Year is your new book.
Yes.
It was just released.
It was released in December of 2015.
And it is published by
Blue Nile
Press, which
Dr.
is
Coven's press.
Dr. Coven.
Yes.
So let's talk about that book. What is the book about?
Well, the book is about the Netter family, and I can kind of just read a little bit here and read a little bit from the book. But I'll give you a little short synopsis first.
Okay.
The Summer of My 15th Year is about the Netter family. Mama, Papa, big brother Charleston, Charlie, older sister Rebecca, Becca, and the youngest member, Etta. They live in a small Iowa town where nothing much happens and everybody knows everybody else. Papa sells insurance. Mama is a housewife, but sometimes sews for the rich white women on Main Street. Charlie attends a small southern college. Becca just graduated from high school, and Etta is turning 15. It's summer, 1937. The Depression is slowly easing, and Charlie is finally coming home. Everybody's excited, especially Papa, who dotes on his only son. In Papa's eyes, Charlie can do no wrong. Charlie, on the other hand, is in no hurry to return to the small, mostly white town of his growing up years. He likes living in the South. It's music, parties, pretty girls, having his freedom. He always has some flimsy excuse for staying, even during the summers. Papa is finally tired of his excuses, insisted it's time for him to come home. So Charlie packs his bags and his trumpet and goes back to a place he knows hasn't changed. A summer he knows will be full of boredom, and a family he figures is also unchanged. The surprise is Etta. The summer of my 15th year is her story.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So I'll just read the prologue. And this is, Etta is now, when the book first started, Etta is like 86, and she's telling her story.
Oh, okay.
She's recording. Her friend has, this young friend that she's known, practically raised, keeps telling her she needs to tell her history. You know, she lived a long life. She needs to tell her history. And she's kind of reluctant to do that because she knows that history is history. You can't change it, you know, or delete all the parts that are ugly or so. But she finally decides to do it. So,
Okay.
Prologue. I ease into my favorite chair and stare at the intimidating little machine on my Formica table. It's tiny and rigid and cold. How can it possibly hold all the memories crowding my mind? They're flipping through my thoughts so fast I can hardly keep up with them. How could that little box allow them to run and play, laugh and cry, fuss and fight and love like memories do? But I promised Francesca I would talk into this gadget that's so foreign to me. And I will, Francesca, I will. But first, I have to get a handle on my memories. My 86 years keep getting in the way of my telling. Like the big white house with this wraparound front porch where I was born and raised and still live, where Becca and Charlie and me recklessly pushed each other in the swing that hung from its wood ceiling, back and forth, until Mama yelled stop. How we acted like we hadn't heard and pushed even harder, where we argued over marbles, the color of the rainbow, the size of peas and grapes and baby onions, and Charlie bullying Becca and me for the biggest and the prettiest before shooting them in all directions over its warm floor. Becca and I shouting they're outside the circle, and Charlie ignoring us. Where on hot summer days we munched on Mama's ginger snap cookies and gulped cold lemonade from shiny tin cups, scooping out the uneven ice chunks with our fingers, our bare feet sticky from the dripping liquid. Like Papa, our Papa, tall and big and light-skinned, with fuzzy sandy-colored hair. He was smart and talkative and outgoing, religious. He seldom drank and never smoked, was a deacon in the church. I remember falling asleep in his lap at Sunday services that seemed to last days instead of hours. I remember him walking us to church on cold winter nights to practice for our Christmas program. I remember him and Mama teaching us our pieces. I remember sitting in the back seat of his old Ford car, squeezed between Becca and Charlie, fidgeting for more space, Becca fidgeting too, and Charlie teasing me. I remember Papa scolding Charlie, and Charlie bumping my shoulder hard as payback. And Mama, pretty Mama, with her cocoa brown skin, huge brown eyes, thick, long, kinky hair, and ready smile. Her voice was soft and gentle until Charlie or Becca or I got out of hand, misbehaved, tried to show off. Then it was loud and harsh and threatening, surprising us, always surprising us. I remember how smart Mama was and how talented. She could sew clothes, all kinds of clothes, that looked better than those sewed at Sears or J.C. Penney's. I remember Becca and me standing like statues to avoid the pinpricks, and Charlie grumbling about wearing homemade clothes. I remember her hair pressing and me trying not to cry when the hot iron got too close, and her whispering sorry with tears in her voice. I remember Becca laughing until it was her turn. And Charleston. I called him Charlie. He was the oldest and the only boy. Papa's favorite. Charlie could do no wrong, and whatever Charlie asked for, he usually got. Becca and I were jealous of Charlie. Charlie was cute and looked like Papa. He was pampered, arrogant, egotistical, and spoiled, but he was also funny and smart and bossy. When we played hide and seek, he was always the seeker. Becca and I knew he was cheating, didn't really have his eyes closed, because he found us too easily. He could draw perfect boxes for hopscotch, and when we played, he never missed a square. On winter days, he pushed our sleds down the small hills, hopping on the back for the ride down. He took us to and from school, walking so fast Becca and I could hardly keep up, laughed and teased us for being scared by the weekly radio mystery series, The Shadow, and Rebecca. Pretty lonely Rebecca, who I called Becca. She was moody and private and smart, smarter than Charlie, aloof. She didn't always act like a big sister, sometimes treated me like a nobody, like we were enemies instead of siblings. But sometimes she acted like we were best friends. We had tea parties with our dolls, dressed up in Mama's old clothes and shoes, tried to play duets on the piano. We giggled over girly stuff and fussed over nonsense. She helped me with my numbers, my letters, taught me to tie my shoes, and read to me for hours. Memories. I shake my head to clear my thoughts. I can't possibly tell them all, don't want to tell them all. So I decide to just stick to the ones that had the most impact. I push play on the strange little machine that I don't completely trust yet and start my telling. The sum of my 15th year.
So how long did it take for you to write that?
I don't know. It was probably, because as I say, I'm writing working on 2 and 3 manuscripts at one time, so I'm sure it was over a year. Because I wrote it, and then there were parts of it that I really had trouble sharing once I got into the story, and I had to get past that. But so I'm sure it was probably over a year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So where can people pick up the book at?
They can get the book at Underground Books.
Okay. All right.
They can also get it on Amazon.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so how much is the book?
$15.
$15.
And is Polka Dots also available?
Not through the bookstores, but if people are interested, I have some in my garage.
Okay.
So does the book have some sexy scenes in it? Or?
Yeah.
Oh. All right. Yeah, I might have to buy that. She's like,
Oh, she's got one.
okay.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's the polka dot book.
Okay, so you can get in here. So let's hear it.
We'll see it underground.
Yeah.
We got both books. We got the underground
Yeah,
and
that's what-
2 books.
yeah, 2 books. So yeah, that's awesome. So are you a country girl or are you a city girl growing up?
Well, I certainly wasn't city because it was a small town.
Okay.
But it wasn't rural. I mean, it
Okay.
was just a
You were a small town
Iowa
girl.
town, yeah, where as I say, where everybody knew everybody else. But,
Yeah.
it was very, very few blacks in the town, so every black knew each other. You know?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So how did your family arrive in Iowa?
They were from the South.
Okay.
They were from Alabama,
Okay.
and they were farmers down there.
Oh, okay.
But the boll weevils got into their crops, so they were really having a hard time. So they started migrating north, and I don't know how they learned about Iowa, but they knew that Iowa had farms.
Okay.
So they migrated up to Iowa, but when they got to Iowa, their farms were so much bigger. And of course the crops were different too,
Right,
but the farms were so much bigger than what they had in the South until most of them that migrated up, they didn't farm. I mean, they found other jobs, other work.
Which city were you? Were you close to Des Moines? Or?
Yeah, close to Des Moines. Yeah, Des Moines was about 55 miles. Des Moines, Ames,
Okay.
Iowa City, where I went to school.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Geri Spencer Hunter.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I enjoyed
Thank
this.
you. Thank you. That was awesome.
Oh, that was great. That was great.
Yeah. So
you.
yeah,
Invite me back.
write another book.
Are you publishing?
Yeah. and we will definitely invite you back. Okay.
Are you working on any other books?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got one. I've got one about depression. I tend to write about things that people don't really want to talk about, and depression is one of the things in the black community
Yes.
that we don't want to talk about.
Yes, it's true.
But, we have it, and it's okay to have it.
Yeah.
But it's not okay not to do something about it.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and I'm writing a book about, the depression book is called Lunch at 9.
Okay. Okay.
And I got that title. I was doing my grocery shopping, and I go early. I do everything early because I'm a kind of a morning person. And I was there as soon as the store
How early?
opened.
Wait a minute, how early?
Like 6:30.
Well, at least it's not 4.
No, not that early.
Be waking up like, woman, get back to bed. Just be doing housework and stuff, opening window shades.
But I do start early, but not that early. But you know, the night people were still there because I go so early. As soon as the store opened, and everybody knew me, and we talked and carried. So the one guy was saying, you know, he says, "Oh, I'm going to have." He was looking at his watch, and he says, "Oh, it's about my lunchtime." He said, "I have lunch at 9." And I thought, what a good title.
Yeah.
So I stole the title, but I didn't know what I was going to do with it.
Oh, and so you just put it on the shelf until something came.
Something that matched that.
Yeah, and then I thought about the story when I was writing my story about depression. I thought, I'll put a lunch at 9 fits this because depression whacks you out.
Right.
You know, you're all off schedule and everything.
Yeah, the clock.
Yeah. So that's why I got the title, and then I am working on one about seniors. Actually, I've got it finished because I think seniors, people don't write about them either much.
It's true.
You know,
it's true. It's not much of a. I know it's not much of a seller because people.
Yeah.
But I mean, considering the growing senior population, you think that more people would put
you
delve into
would.
that. Yeah.
And now since I claim I finally decided I am a senior. But it's
Hard to embrace.
I know that was a hard one, wasn't it?
hard. I'm telling you, this past birthday was a hard one. But it's called Strokes, Heart Attacks, and Murder.
So you said strokes, heart attacks, and
Murder.
oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a mystery.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is that a mystery? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
it's a senior mystery.
Yeah.
Oh, very cool.
And then I'm working on one for public health because that was public health is a whole nother world. And it's called Where Angels Fear.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So whenever I get them published.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're definitely welcome.
I love mysteries. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. I love mysteries.
Well, thank you once again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.